Let's continue now by opening the OG main menu folder, UI, and going into customization. Here open the data table DT skins, and these are basically the different characters you can select in the character selection screen. Because the third person shooter kit is only compatible with its own character class, we are going to delete these here and create a new one. Make sure to set the row name to 1 also, the ID 2. The name could be something like third person shooter kit character and the bio could be like cool dude who shoots like a real hitman. Great. Now we need to set its character class also. It's BP player character mannequin. And yeah, we can select the thumbnail and an animation as well. The thumbnail could be the same of the UE4 mannequin. And yeah, I'm not going to select an animation for now, but if you want, you could. And now we can close this tab and go into Blueprint, Game State, and GS Base. Here we are going to create an event dispatcher called player possessed and give it an input type of type actor and call it player actor. This tab can be closed now too. Let's first compile and save it and close it, and now we can go into the third person kit folder. Wait, I'll just expand it a bit. Next we go into Blueprint and user interface and find widget Blueprint game HUD widget. Yeah, let's just duplicate it to be on the safe side, although it's best to usually use the version control, and open up the original one. Let's reparent it to reparent Blueprint to common activatable widget. Okay, compile and save, and change a few of its class settings, which are, we need to uncheck supports activation focus and need to check auto activate. Also, we need to set the IMC UI generic input mapping context to the value of input mapping, and need to add the frames per second and the latency widgets, which are called WBP, FPS. Let's just add it here, and the latency one also. Let's just add it right next to it and pull it to the side. Okay, so far so good. Compile and save. It's probably best to parent them to a horizontal box. Pull the latency one into it also, and I set them both to fill. No less. I set them to auto. Go to the horizontal box, check size to content, and now it looks a lot better than before. Also, now if one of both is hidden, the second one will be placed in the left position. Okay, also we need to delete the pause menu widget here. So click on it and press delete, compile and save. Now you can close this tab here also. Next, we are going to go back to Blueprints and search for BP player character base. Let's just drag it into the main window. Now search for the graph HUD initials and open it. Here we need to replace this create widget with a push widget to stack node. So the widget class is game HUD widget. The target is get HUD from the player controller and connect it to it. We can delete this node here and put this here instead. Let's move it a bit to the left and cast to game HUD widget. Now we can connect this output to the variable and need to delete this here. Okay. Also we need to get the game HUD object and connect it to this here, like this. Let's also make this comment here a bit larger and compile and save. Now you will be probably seeing this warning and the error here. We'll fix these now. So go into the pause menu graph, and here we need to take these two nodes and move them here. This might be connected for you, just disconnect it. Compile and save. Next we are going to go back to the event graph. So search for event graph here. Go into it and go to event processed. Here we have to replace the cast to BP TPS game state with the cast to the OG main menu system game state, which is called GS base. And we now get its call player possessed dispatcher. Call player possessed dispatcher. Connect self to it also and connect it to the delay node. Also we can connect the cast failed to this one here at the top. We also are going to get a is main menu interface node here together with a branch and connect them. Let's just move things here a bit. We can collapse this, move these nodes to the right and put this here. Okay, we need to duplicate the game state for it to connect it to the is main menu node as well, and copy these three nodes place them also here into begin play. And also place one here at the start of event tick. I'm just going to move these comments a bit. Okay, and search for event destroyed. Go to it and place the same nodes here too. Okay, compile and save. Next, we need to go back to the folder view, to the content browser, and search for BP AI character base. Open it up. Go into the event into the graph called player possessed event, and cast to the OG main menu system and game state here as well. GS base cast connect. Here we need to get its player possessed event dispatcher again. Player possessed, bind event to player possessed, connected to the event player possessed event 0, and connect it to the output node here. Yeah. Okay, compile and save. The next step is to go back to the content browser and go to the third person kit maps. We can now go into the features map version 2, and here we have to do a few things. First, we need to change the game mode to GM game, and also delete the BP player character mannequin which is inside the level. Instead, we place a player spawn, player start, rotate it into the correct direction, and save the map. Now we need to do the same to all of these 5 levels inside the legacy folder as well. So let's go first into level 01. Here we have to change the game mode again. Delete the character and place a player start. Alright, save. And I will do the next levels in fast mode, so it's always the same steps. Okay, so I've just edited all levels, And now we need to also do the same changes to features map. Yes, delete anyway, and game, GM game. Let's place player start again. And also we need to place a checkpoint blueprint for it to be triggered when the player spawns. Save. Here also we need to do a few adjustments to the level blueprint. So open it up, and yeah, the first thing we need to make is to delete these nodes here. Connect the fade in node to the bind node, and also we need to replace this display notification node with a server message node, and the target will be a simple get player controller node. Don't forget to write a good welcome message for the player here. Welcome to the legacy features map. Compile and save. Now we can close the level blueprint. Okay. Now we need to go back into the OG main menu folder and search for the game modes files. We need to find the E game modes. Here we have to create a row for each level we want the players to be able to access. The names, the display names here, need to be exactly the same like the map names. So let's first take the features map version 2. Just to make sure, the name here won't be the name visible to the players when selecting modes. That's just a name for the architecture to work. Next we have the features map, which is the legacy one. Then I would also like to add a level 1, level 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, I'll just copy this like this. Okay, save. And now we also have to go into the data table DT game modes and create a row for each of these levels, of each of these rows. So let's first remove these here and create a new one. Make sure to set the row name to the ID value basically. So 1. The title will be features map. The subtitle will be old. Oh no, it's the new one, so new. And the thumbnail, you can choose one. I will choose one of the event ones inside the OG main menu system. Let's take this one here. Now let's create one for the other levels as well. Features map, title, legacy features map. The subtitle here could be, old, and the event and the thumbnail could be an event again. Stack 4. Now let's create a row each for the levels. Level 1. Getting started, for example, would be a nice subtitle. The event could be, wait, we've chosen here event 4. Let's, for ease of use, set it to 2 and this one to 1, to have this one here as 3. Okay, the next one will be level 2. So level 2 subtitle will be beginner and event 4. Then level 3. Subtitle will be intermediate and the thumbnail event 5. Okay. Now let's continue with level 4. Subtitle would be something like pro, maybe. And the thumbnail now would be 6. If that's 5, that's 6. Okay, we don't have a 7, unfortunately. But we'll find a good thumbnail in a bit. For now, let's choose here level 5. The title is also level 5. The subtitle would be expert, for example. And the thumbnail can be something like, wait, let's take a look here, which does look kinda nice. Oh, this here is cool. Blue sharp. Okay, nice. Let's save. The next step is kinda optional, but I feel like it would look better when done. Let's search for AWB home menu. Oh, AP is missing here. Home menu. Open it up and make the modes widget a bit larger to the right, because here we have quite a few levels, so the more space the better it is. Let's make it even a bit bigger, like this, and just make sure it's not overlapping with the party window to keep it visually aesthetic. Compile and save. Now we go into OG main menu, UI, subwidgets, and create match. Here we have to open AWBP match. Go into the graph, and here we have to disconnect this branch from the nodes before it and compile and save. We can close this tab here and also the home menu and the data table and the enum. And now we need to open the create match widget. Here we have to go to event construct and to its event 2 nodes. We have to disconnect this node here, instead place set this value here to collapsed. Alright, now we need to go to the on clicked of button create. This is off button back. Right, let's just make this here a bit larger. Okay, we can find it in a different way. Go back to the designer, scroll down and go to on clicked. Alright, it's here. Now we need to disconnect this event node here from these nodes and instead place the following ones. Let's copy this one to it and also place init match, and yeah, let's just take these two as well. And now we need to get selected mode, connect game state to it, so get game state and connect it to the target input. Here we have to get enum to string node and an open level by name node. We can connect these two. Listen straight into connections and connect them. Let's just make this comment a bit larger and move this down. Alright. Just an info again. These nodes in this case won't be used. These are for multiplayer support, but like I've said in the beginning, this guide will not cover how to add multiplayer support to the third-person shooter kit, because it would be out of scope. But if you need multiplayer support, you can modify the third-person shooter kit code and reuse this nodes here, so I won't delete them for now. Compile and save. Now we need to go back into the features map version 2. Let's just collapse the OG main menu folder, go into maps and features map version 2. Save all. Here we need to open the level blueprint and add the delay node right at the beginning of begin play. So delay, you can keep it at 0.2 seconds. Compile and save. Alright, now search for HUD game, which is inside the OG main menu. HUD game. Open it up and search the create game UI command, which is here. Instead of these nodes, place a get all widgets of class node of type game HUD widget, WB game HUD widget, uncheck top level only, and get the first index. Oh yeah, first we need to change the game widget ref type to game HUD widget also. Okay, now we should be able to connect it. Yes, we can. And compile and save. We just need to fix these errors here by dragging out from the game widget ref variable and getting the FPS and latency widgets we've created in the beginning. Connect them here and here as well. Okay. And the latency too. Oh, we need to connect the game widget ref to this valid node. So let's change it to that. Alright, like this, it should work now. Compile and save. Next, we are going to go into the debug commands map. So search for debug commands. It should be inside the third person kit project. Debug commands, and go into the level blueprint here. Here we have to go into the event graph and disconnect the P key event from the node tree. Here. Compile and save. Okay, we can close the level blueprint here and exit the game as well and create match also. Next, we are going to search for a WBP pause menu. WBP pause menu and open it. Go into the graph mode and add an event on deactivated. Place it next to the event on activated, preferably, and connect it to a set game pause mode. Set game paused. Alright, keep it unchecked here and copy the set game paused node to event on activated as well. However, here we have to check it. This gets the gameplay to pause whenever we open the pause menu. If you don't want this behavior, you can delete these two nodes. Now we're going to add a few buttons to the pause menu. So go back to the designer screen and let's duplicate the continue button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay. As you can see, it's now a bit too large, so let's change the top paddings of all buttons from 100 to 75. Alright. Compile and save. Now let's call the first one here restart from checkpoint. Let's call it button restart from checkpoint. Right, let's just make it a bit larger here. Start from checkpoint. The second one restart from level. Start from level. And the third one quit game. Alright. Make sure that all buttons have is variable checked and move the quit game button to the bottom. Okay. Now let's change their text. For this, press on the flag and then on the trash can to unlink from localization and change it to, let's say, quit game. Here we change it to restart level. Yeah, let's change the button name to restart level instead of restart from level. And here we change it to restart from checkpoint. From checkpoint is better. Okay, compile and save. Now let's select the restart from checkpoint, restart level and quit game buttons. Scroll down. Oh, we can do 3 at once. Okay, let's first start with restart from checkpoint and press on its on-clicked event. Then go back, go to restart level, scroll down and do the same. And also for quit game. Great. Now let's continue with the on-clicked event of the button restart level. The first node we need is push pop-up window. And then we need a get player controller node with its get HUD. And we need to connect it to the target here. Let's set some text to the pop-up window. The header could say something like restart level. The main could say, are you sure you want to restart the level? All progress will be lost. The top could say restart, and the bottom could say no. Then we need to cast it to a pop-up window, and we need to assign the top button. Let's rename it to event restart level, and let's call cast to game mode. And the reason we cast to the game mode is because just the get game mode node returns only of type game mode base, but we need game mode, so yeah. And just to clarify it, casting to C++ classes like here, cast to game mode, is very efficient. Okay, so here we need to get the restart game node, and then finally apply sound 2D, because it was also in the original third-person shooter kit. Yeah, behavior, basically. Pick up health. Okay, awesome. Let's copy these nodes here, because we'll need a pop-up window for the quit game as well. And here we could call the text in the header quit game. The main could be, are you sure you want to quit the game? All progress will be lost. The top button could say quit, bottom one could say stay. Here we also need to create an event, call it something like event quit game, and the only node we need to call here is execute console command, and the command we want to execute is quit. Compile and save. This needs some more nodes, so we are going to go to the pause menu of the third-person shooter kit. So search for pause menu. Yeah, it's called WB pause menu widget. Go into the graph screen, and let's start from checkpoint, okay, and copy the blue comment. So the entire blue comment can be copied. I can copy it and go back to the OG main menu system pause menu. Paste the comment here, and now we need a few more nodes here, which are respawn player. So we get game state and respawn player. I'll copy them and I paste them into the other pause menu, and now we can connect it here. as well as the get player character blueprint node to the animation blueprint and get sliding node, and to this here as well. Alright, we need one more node, which is a remove pause menu. Yeah, I've just forgotten, we need to create the remove pause menu event first. So let's go up here and create a custom event and call it remove pause menu. Also connected to the remove window node. Now let's go back down here and connect then one output to remove pause menu. Beautiful. Okay. Expand the comment a bit and move it to a better looking position. Yeah, we can just do this and I'll put all these nodes in a restart from checkpoint comment. You can make it black. These nodes we can put them in a restart level comment and make it black as well. And these nodes we can place into a quit game comment and make it black as well. Alright, next we are going to create a I've just seen a typo here. Quit. Okay, compile and save again. Yeah, so next we're going to create a replacement for the level finished menu of the third person shooter kit. So let's go back to the pause menu and duplicate it and call it AWBP level finished menu. Press enter and let's search for it again. Level finished menu. Okay. First thing we're going to do is to delete the settings button and also the restart from checkpoint one. And we can go into the graph editor and delete the settings menu button here. Yes. And also the remove pause menu event. Compile and save. Yeah, we can delete the events of the buttons we've just deleted as well. So delete it here and delete this one here as well. We can move these comments a bit up. And compile and save. Let's rename the continue button to button next level and set its text value to next level. Compile and save and go back into its graph editor mode. Now here instead of where is the click event of button continue? Okay, it's here. So instead of calling remove window and set input mode to game here. We're going to disconnect the on-click button in next level event. Can move this one here, make it a bit more compact. Here we need to call a show a loading screen node. Show loading screen, and get the player controller again, as well as its get HUD node and connect it to this here. Then we need to call a play sound 2D node. Let's choose pick up health again. And now we need to create a variable called current level of type e level list. Get it and get its switch node. And let's expand this here. And now let's get two open level by name nodes. A level of 5 will go to the first one, and level 1 to 4 will go into the second one. Like this. Here we'll get a add node, add one, and an enum to string node. Oh no, byte to enum e level list, and then an enum to string. Connected to this here, and here we'll have to call it features map v2. Let's now take these nodes here and move them down and put them into a comment called next level with a black color. Okay, compile and save. Now we can close this widget and the pause menu widget and this one too. Let's search for BP finish level. Oh yeah, it should be inside the third person shooter kit. So BP finish level and open it up. Search for the call level finished reached. Call level finished reached node. Okay. Here, instead of all these nodes, we're going to connect here. We need to get a push widget to stack node and set its widget class to level finished, the one we've just created, the AWBP level finished menu. And the stack type will be UI base menu. The target will be get player controller and get HUD. How connected? Oh, like this. Cast its output pin to level finished menu and set its current level variable to the current level variable value of this blueprint here, like this. Now we need to set input mode to UI to this widget. Okay, let's give these nodes here a comment, like create level finished menu, and let's make it black. Compile and save. Next, we're going to search for a WBP home menu. Wait, let's just show in folder view. Oh, I don't know why it was shown twice, but okay. And let's compile first and go into the class defaults. Here we need to set, here make sure that the event switcher has the right navigation set to custom and navigate to party window, and the down navigation to custom as well and navigate to selected mode. The AWB modes widget should have right set to custom boundary and navigate to party window, and up to custom boundary as well and navigate to event switcher. And also the party window should have left set to custom boundary and navigate to selected mode, and up and down to custom boundary as well and navigate to event switcher and selected mode. Okay, if these are all set, we can close this widget here again, close finish level, and go back and search for player controller base, so PC base. Open it up and search for inside. Okay, undo, compile again and save, and go into the class defaults. Here, search for tick even when paused, and make sure it's checked. Also check should perform full tick when game is paused. Should perform full tick when paused. Save. Compile and save. And now let's go to the HUD base. We need to go into the loading screen widget. So you can go to the details tab after selecting the loading screen variable. Right click here on the variable type and press on browse to type. Open it up and let's create an animation for it. Call it fade and set the overlay root as the animated component, and set a key for its render opacity, and half a second later a key for the render opacity again to 0 from 1 to 0. Compile and save. And let's go back into HUD base. Here we have to call play animation forward. We can delete this node here. Connect the new one. and get the fade animation we've just created to connect it to the animation input needed here. Then we can delay for half a second, and then we can remove from parent. First we need the reference to the loading screen, so remove from parent. Okay, now we can straighten these connections here and compile and save. Compile and save again, and now let's go into the widget of the pop-up message. WBP pop-up message, go into the graph editor and delete the timer nodes, these two, as well as the timer handle variable. Compile and save, and instead place a delay node of 3 seconds and deactivate pop-up. Deactivate here function call to have these nodes here still being called. The reason why we're choosing a delay node here instead of a timer is because when the game is paused, while having the pause menu open, the timers just stop working, but the delay nodes still do work. So yeah, make sure you've compiled and saved. And now let's go into the settings menu. So search for settings menu. Okay, open it up, go into the graph editor again, into event graph, and scroll down to the audio comment. Here we need to change the sound classes. So let's search for mix master instead of SC master. Mix music, and mix sound effects, so SFX, and mix interface instead of UI. And now search for the function called set up volume sliders, and here we have to do the same changes to the set sound mix class override nodes. So the master becomes mix master, the music becomes mix music, ambient becomes mix SFX, and UI becomes mix interface. Alright, now you can compile and save. And let's go into OG main menu and into the audio folder. Here, go to music and open up the suspense track, change its class to mix music, and go back to audio and go into the sound effects folder and UI. Open up these 6. You can select them all at once. Right click and go to edit selection and property matrix. Here you can search for class and set it to here mix interface. Oh yeah. Okay, now we can save. So the class of all 6 tracks is changed. And go back to the main menu level. Main menu. Oh. Maps, main menu. Alright, with all these changes being made, you've just took all steps necessary to make the OG main menu system and the third-person shooter kit compatible. Thanks to you for watching this far, and I wish you lots of fun with both our templates. If you have any questions or suggestions left, don't hesitate to join our Discord service and receive the best support we can offer. Also, feel free to put a comment under this video. With that being said, happy developing and see you next time.